emotions.
And the quality of the songs.
Hey, the quality of the show.
The show, yeah. But the music, obviously, she is the music intern, so since none of us are paid in this show, we're all interns.
Some of us are more senior than others. Like you're the senior most intern because this was your idea.
Yeah, but guess what? I'm still an unpaid intern, like everybody else here. We do this for
we don't tell people that we actually pay to do this. People think that this is for free. Felix and I make fools of ourselves, and we're paying for it.
Yeah, about that. It's okay. So we're fools. What can I tell you?
It's like doing stand-up comedy
in a club,
doing with self-deprecating humor. But where did we leave off?
Self-deprecating humor?
No. Kushner is going to be talking again tomorrow.
Okay.
Behind closed doors. And he wasn't even, I don't even think he was sworn in. Okay? So, how do we know he's even telling the truth?
What do you mean he wasn't sworn in?
When they swear you in, when you come before a Senate committee, whether it's the staff of the senators, which is the same thing as being questioned by the Intelligence Committee.
I know, but you're saying he wasn't sworn in.
You have, like when you take.
Don't you have to get sworn in to speak?
When you testify in court,
if you testify in front of the Senate committee, don't you have to swear in?
Yes.
So what'd you say he didn't swear in?
Because that was the deal, I think, that he cut. That he will
I didn't hear
testify, but not under oath.
I didn't hear that.
And I think that's the same deal that Donald Jr. and Manafort got as well. The only thing is, their questioning is going to be live, I think starting Wednesday. But,
Now, what's the purpose of doing all this if Mueller is doing this?
Because the House and the Senate are running their own investigations. The House is running two, and the Senate is running two. The Intelligence Committee...
No, I understand, but why would you do that if you have a guy that's specially hired to do it?
Because he's doing his own investigating. His is really more important, okay? Because he's impartial. He's not supposed to be for one side or the other. He's just gathering information, just like a judge, okay? And then he'll render not so much a decision as a written report to the House and Senate as to what he found. Did he find any collusion or not?
Now, do you find that the judges are impartial?
We had this argument before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are impartial.
They're impartial.
Then why do you
Just like even though the Supreme Court, because sometimes you get a conservative like, who was the guy who they would talk? Anthony
Scalia, who died?
No, that's it. Justice, no. Breyer is conservative, but sometimes he votes liberal. And then there's Kennedy.
Yeah.
Kennedy, who, what's his face? I forgot his name already. The guy who was just sworn in.
I forgot his name too.
Well, he was Kennedy's clerk.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
In fact, Kennedy swore him in instead of Chief Justice Roberts. Kennedy had the privilege to swear him in.
Correct.
Now, they've been talking about Kennedy maybe retiring because he's over 80, but they're begging him not to because with the next election, it's definitely going to sway the court. If Trump appoints a conservative, then in our lifetime, we will never see any kind of moderate or liberal decision come down from the court because you're going to have...
So they are partial.
No, I just finished telling you.
Why wouldn't they not? What would you call them? They lean one way or the other. They are partial towards being conservative.
But why is it that sometimes you can get a conservative justice?
But not often.
All right. But it happens.
Well, sometimes you agree with me or I agree with you. It happens. But the bottom line is, do you want to see all 9 judges to be conservatives?
There have very rarely been decisions where it's 8-1 or 7-2. Okay?
That's because they have conflicting ways of and ideas. They are partial. They're not impartial. If they were impartial, then everybody would agree that every one of them is good.
I would put my faith in the Justice Department.
Okay? Even if they're all conservatives?
Hey, look. The court voted against me twice when, as far as my ex-wife was concerned, We took her back to court, and she wound up getting more than she even asked for. So, what can I tell you? It happens.
Or if, in your case, you'd rather have a male judge than a female judge because, right, when it comes to these cases.
I think it's 6 on one, half a dozen in another.
Okay.
Female judges don't always, back the
woman.
The woman. But we're straying now. Both sides, Democrats and Republicans, believe that Mueller is a very upstanding attorney. Now, Trump thinks that Mueller should recuse himself because a day before he was asked to assume this role, he was putting in to become the new FBI director.
That's right.
Okay. Now, he didn't know that when he was appointed to this investigation. But it seems, everybody on the Judicial Committee, it was almost unanimous, for Christopher Wray. I think he only got 2 negatives. Everybody else, including all the Democrats, were positive.
Who's Christopher Wray?
He's the new FBI director.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but he applied for the job.
He was thinking about it. He didn't apply. And then they asked him...
He was interviewed for it. He was turned down.
He wasn't necessarily turned down. He might have been interviewed, but then they asked him to do this, so he had to withdraw his... call it application? I don't know.
Sorry, I heard the opposite. I heard that he didn't get
Felix, when it comes to you and me, you always hear the opposite.
No, we agreed on a lot of things today.
Anyway,
yes.
Do you realize what we forgot to do all night?
Give us a phone number.
Yeah, because people don't read, and if they're following the blog, they don't see the number on top. For the little bit of time that's left, ladies and gentlemen, it's 646-595-3275.
'And if you don't call, Your
Don't
loss.
do me a favor. Don't call it 5 to 11 because I can't talk anymore. So you've heard everything I have to say. I've been saving it up for 3 weeks.
That's it? Then let's get off the show. We're done.
For the most part, I mean, I've been doing all the talking.
And I've just been disagreeing.
And you've been doing the disagreeing, yeah.
Well,
but we've been on for an hour and 5 minutes, and for us, that's pretty damn good.
So what's going to happen with these guys?
What's going to happen is you are not going to get a decision by Mueller for almost a year. It'll take about that long. As far as the Senate and the House are concerned, their investigations will continue. You'll probably sooner hear from the House and the Senate before you hear from Mueller. All right? He has his staff in place. They've all been directed to do whatever investigating they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I'll agree with Trump on is that Congress should focus more on doing the people's business, which is healthcare, which is jobs, which is infrastructure, which is
taxes,
climate control, taxes. A lot of the thing, they said they can't do taxes until they do healthcare because they have to know how much money it's going to cost so they know how much money they have to spend.
Correct.
But that's not going to help you if you're crossing a bridge and all of a sudden it collapses underneath you. Okay? From what I understand, especially here in New York, we have a hell of a lot of bridges that, and parkways that were done not only during the Eisenhower administration, because every time you see a parkway, there's always a sign that says, something about Eisenhower. But bridges, train lines that go over water, okay, these things have been in place since the Depression and before. Okay, they weren't meant to hold, the stress that they're asked to bear every single day and in all kinds of weather. So, what can I say?
You could say it's time to build some new bridges.
Well, but you know what they did say today. I think it was the Wall Street Journal and somebody else released a poll. 42% of the people say they want to see Trump impeached, and 42% say they want him to stay. So, that's as of now.
I didn't see that.
Well, you don't see a lot of things, Felix.
Of course not.
I'm
not home all day.
Well,
being able to study the news like your job is.
I do study the news.
Well, that's your job. That's what I just said.
Well, not necessarily. I got stuff I have to do. If you give me a minute, I'll think about it.
Okay.
Like they asked Eisenhower when Nixon decided to run for president in 1960. What accomplishments has Richard Nixon done in the past 7 years to make him worthy of being president? And Eisenhower said, well, if you give me a couple of minutes, I'm sure I'll be able to think of something. Speaking of jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
I
will leave you with this joke that where is it now? That I saw online. Well, it doesn't make a difference. It's short enough that I remember it. Two guys are sitting in a bar. And one guy looks at the other guy and he says, I slept with your mother. And the bar becomes silent. and then the first